Good morning, and how are you? Hello, hello. It's Authentic Conversations with Moji, and today I have no clue. We've been indoors for so long, I don't even know what day it is. I think today's Tuesday. I have no clue what the date is, so we're just going to go with that. This is not CNN. This is Authentic Conversations with Moji, where we have conversations about the good, the bad, and the ugly. And my name is Moji Solar-Wilson. Welcome. I originally came on the show and I was going to talk about Nigeria and the problems and the problems and the problems. But the truth is that we already know what the problems are. So I think it's more important that we start to talk about going forward. You know, again, I was going to be one of those that forever talk about the problems of Nigeria and, why Nigeria is the way it is. But we already know why we are the way we are. And I thought, I'm sick and tired of hearing about the problems. How about we start to talk about the solutions? And as I was about to do that this morning, I saw an interview of Dr. Onye, Ngozi Onye, who's a certified medical doctor. And I always say certified because a lot of times in Nigeria, people just open up hospitals. If organizer that comes into money can just open up a massive hospital and it's not accredited. Nobody knows how to treat people. The nurses are not really trained nurses. They're just people in nursing uniforms. And I know that for a fact because my family members have ended up in one of those hospitals where the so-called doctors are not trained. They're not certified doctors. So there's a lot of rumor out there about the fact that, private hospitals are not good. But we have to remember that there's a lot of Nigerian doctors that have given their lives to serving in Nigeria. Yes, true, a lot of Nigerian doctors left because they've been frustrated. But the problem is not the Nigerian doctors, because a lot of Nigerian doctors outside the country of Nigeria are some of the best doctors in the world. A lot of the Nigerian doctors that we have that are treating patients all around the world are actually absolutely super fantastic, very well trained in Nigeria, and then they would be harvested by other countries. So I saw an interview today from Arise TV with Dr. Ngozi Onye, who owns Paylon Memorial Hospital. Paylon Memorial Hospital. I mean, I personally can't speak on her character. I can speak on her integrity, because usually we had an issue where a person that we don't know was in the hospital and needed help, and we called and she picked up the phone and she treated this young man, gave huge discounts, made sure he was stable and all that stuff. So this is somebody that we know personally, and there's a lot of doctors that are accredited. Part of the problem with Nigeria that you and I know is that anybody with money can do anything in Nigeria. You can get a certificate to open up a brain surgery. I mean, we've had cases where schools are not accredited and thousands of children and people graduated from schools that they cannot do anything with the certificates, with their college degrees or maybe their high school certificates and such, because the schools are not accredited. So we could sit here and spend time on here and talk about Nigeria's problems, and I could go here and bash Nigeria, which is usually what Nigerians enjoy. You guys enjoy that freak show, which is part of the problem, because we cannot have dialogue. I'm sitting there going, why can't we have dialogue as Nigerians? Why must everything be a fight? And that's part of the problem, because when we don't look, coronavirus has leveled the playing field. A chief of staff died from coronavirus. Baba Shukura, the organizer, died of coronavirus. So this is not a virus out there that depends on your class or whatever. This is a virus that also killed the owner of Santander Bank in in Spain or somewhere like that, right? And his daughter, the gentleman's daughter, wrote on her Twitter page. Let me go find it for you. And again, the show I was going to do today switched, and it switched because something in my brain cells switched as well. Because when we start to think about changing our narrative, we have to start, first of all, by acknowledging the problem, which we all have been doing for the past 5 years, that I've been doing this social commentating. A lot of us don't realize that to change our narrative, we have to change the way we think about things. So when I saw this piece today, this post that Inky Uweka, a friend of mine, on her page today, it really jolted something in me, because for the first time in a very long time, the poor and the rich and the whatever, we're all on the same playing field. So if I, Moji, want to come here and start shouting about where are the PPEs, which we already know that the Nigerian government has taken it up to the top, because you all can see the PPEs on the faces of their employees, their daughters, their sons, and all that stuff, while doctors in public hospitals do not have PPEs in Nigeria. We know that already. We already know that a lot of the Nigerian hospitals are not up to par. We know that already. We already know that many Nigerians cannot feed themselves. We know that already. It's not coronavirus that brought hunger to Nigeria. What brought hunger to Nigeria is the fact that Nigerians are not cutting their coat according to their size. Everybody is not going to be a millionaire. Everybody is not going to be rich. Some people are put into this world to do what it is that they're doing, but be the best version of yourself, which is what I, Moji, always preach. There's no law that says that you have to be rich. There's no God that says everybody is going to be rich. There's a saying my dad used to tell us ages ago, and I thought it was funny, right? He would always say, you know, for somebody to be rich, somebody has to be poor. For somebody to die, somebody has to be born. It's amazing how we're one of the most religious cultures in the whole universe. But we are also one of the cultures where we believe in hocus pocus, where we believe we deserve something that somebody else has, where we believe that somebody owes us something, where we believe that the government owes us, as opposed to us contributing to the system. Yes, the government of Nigeria is corrupt. We know that. Yes, the government of Nigeria is geared allegedly towards helping the North to become rich and govern and take over the country, allegedly. But what do we know that we as individuals can control? The only person you can control is yourself. And that's by being what you want to see in the world. Gandhi said that. It's not an original quote from Moji. So this is a post that I saw today that freaked me out. And I'll read it to you guys. The Portuguese billionaire, Antonio, president of Santander Bank in Portugal, died due to coronavirus. His daughter wrote on her social media, "We are a healthy family, but my father passed away alone, suffocating, looking for something free, which is air. Money stayed at home." That last part struck me. He said, "My father passed away alone, suffocating, looking for something free, which is air. Money stayed at home." Before we even dive into the show today, I want to acknowledge people and let you know that I appreciate you being here. If you're here, just say hello. If you're new to my page, do me a huge favor, follow and like the page so you can get notifications when we go on. This is not CNN, like I said. This is authentic conversations with Moji. This is where we have those hard conversations that a lot of people are afraid to have. And this is where we're going to speak to each other and communicate with each other as individuals. We don't fight on my page. We have conversations to understand each other. We have conversations to grow. So even I might not agree with you, right? But I might be able to learn something from you. So every voice is to be heard. We're going to post a link. I'm going to post the link to come onto the show. If anybody would like to join me, you're more than welcome to. The conversation today is going to be about going forward. The conversation is not going to be about bashing Buhari, bashing Abakiari, who I heard is an amazing man, but the whole of Nigeria has just totally abused the man for whatever. That's not the show today. We're not abusing anybody. I hear Ihilma. How are you? And hello, Felix. This is not that show. Today, let's talk about going forward. Going forward after coronavirus, because what coronavirus did to a lot of us is make us all one and the same. If coronavirus is on the road and Mr. Gazelonia runs into coronavirus and he catches it, the same thing that could happen to Baba Shukra is going to happen to the poor guy, right? The government of Nigeria has set up standards. Stay home, wash your hands. People are jumping up and down. I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Honey, if you're hungry today, you must have been hungry yesterday. Your hunger did not start today. See, part of the reason why I say that, in as much as it might sound cold and brutal, is that a lot of us, we're not proactive. Hi, Shipimo. We're not proactive. We don't look at things in the future, 10 years from now, where a lot of us are looking for instant gratification. People no longer want to go to the farm and farm. If you're hungry, go back to your village and farm and do some work. If you're hungry, go back to your, go pick up your kids, go back. But let's not start from hunger. Let's start about with family planning. Let's start. Let's talk about Shipimo. Let's talk about something as simple as family planning. Why will the man or woman think it's okay to have 10, 12 children that they can't support? The reason they do that is because they know they can call their cousins or their dogs or their cats or somebody in the United States or the US to send them money every month. So now we have them on our payroll, because that's what I call it. If you're getting paid by somebody just to be alive, a lot of that money that you're getting every month should be used to invest in a business, not in taking Ashoebi every weekend to go to a party. We're talking about going forward. We're not talking about right now, because right now people are hungry because they've always been hungry. Coronavirus is not what created hunger in Nigeria. Hunger was always in Nigeria. Now that coronavirus has exposed a lot of the problems with Nigeria that we already know. Now the whole world sees it. How about we start to talk about how do we go forward? Let's start to talk about family planning. Let's start to talk about things, right? Let's start to talk about things that will help the country to become better. Coronavirus hit Nigeria. They were scrounging around looking to build hospitals. They started putting up tents. Instead of building hospitals, they're building tents, right? They're building tents. What about after coronavirus comes in and leaves? Are we still going to be using tents, or do we need to actually start building physical hospitals? Another thing is that a lot of these public hospitals, a lot of these private hospitals are not accredited. A lot of these private hospitals is just, Joe Cool that thinks he wants to build a hospital because he has money. He builds the hospital. It's not fully staffed. The government has not checked. The Ministry of Health has not gone there to check to make sure that they're up to par. So somebody goes in there with an appendicitis. It's not properly diagnosed. They cut off his leg, and people start blaming all Nigerian doctors. When in actuality, these hospitals are not truly run by by accredited Nigerian doctors. See, the topic, when you talk about Nigeria and its people, when you look at shows, when you look at shows that are bashing people, they get 200,000, they get, meet me at it and let me beat you up. But when you look at shows that are bashing people, their numbers are higher than the shows that are talking about, let's build the country. Let's try and make the country work. Let's do the right thing, right? That's not how they do it. People like garbage. So when people like garbage, when a culture likes garbage, they get fed garbage. When a culture starts to demand for quality hospitals, quality restaurants, quality this and quality that, things start to happen. But for that to happen, we have to change our mindsets. We need to change the way that we think about life. It cannot be money that we worship. Most people that go to church don't go to church because they believe in Christ or they believe they want to be Christ-like. Most of these people go to church because they're praying to God to make them rich. Make me rich, make me rich. Well, coronavirus is here. All the money in the world is not going to save your life if you're meant to die. That's one lesson that we learned from coronavirus. So if we learn that lesson from coronavirus, that money is not everything, how do we change our mindset? Are we going to continue to bring in the wrong people? Are we going to continue to vote for people that give us a bag of rice? They're talking about, rice has now become the new currency in Nigeria. If somebody wants you to go and kill somebody, they give you a bag of rice and they give you 5,000 naira on top of it. 5,000 naira, by the way. I was talking to a girl yesterday, a young woman that called me for help. She told me that 3,000 naira is what it cost her to make a pot of soup that will last her 3 days. But yet somebody will give you 5,000 naira to vote for them, knowing fully well this is the same government that we've had that's corrupt for over 30 years. And yet when you say something, people want to bash you, they want to complain, they want to call you an elitist and this and that. As far as I'm concerned, until we Nigerians start to take, start to be what we want to see in the world, yeah, it's going to be very difficult for the government to change, because the government is a representation of the people. The government is a representation of the people. Now, if you and I want to change Nigeria, we have to start to change ourselves. We have to start to become our brother's keepers. And I'm not talking about that brother's keepers where we're enabling people to be lazy as hell, where we're telling people it's okay to have 20 children. And every time somebody posts on their page, we're doing a giveaway, that person is now the popular jinget. That person is the superhero. Look, you cannot be so thirsty that you start to drink from every cup. That's how you get poisoned. Anybody that's not looking to invest in your future, anyone that's not looking to educate, help you get a better education, help you get a better way of life, tell you the truth, in my books, is truly not looking for you to grow. So because somebody is not dashing you money to go and buy fancy clothing, fancy shoes, or buy cell phone or iPhone, it doesn't mean that they don't like you. It means that they want what's best for you, which is to help you to grow, to become a better person, right? I believe in empowering people. I don't believe in enabling people, because when you enable people, they eat once and that's it. So how do we go forward after coronavirus is gone? Number one, for the government, in my opinion, I am not a scientist. In my opinion, hospitals have to be rebuilt. Hospitals have to be built and equipped with the proper equipment. They have to figure out a way in Nigeria, according to Dr. Ngozi Onye of Paylon Memorial Hospital. They have to figure out a way to accredit these hospitals to make sure that they are being run by certified doctors. If you do not have certification, it means that you do not have government, you have not met the standards of the land to practice medicine. If Baba Shukura can open a hospital and he's not accredited, then his hospital does not have to be sanitary. He's sanitized. His hospital does not have to be clean. He doesn't even have to know Jack, right? But until we start to have people accredited, certified, which means that they have gone to school, they have learned how Nigeria wants their hospitals to be run. They have learned that they must have this, they must have the fire equipment, they must have an ambulance, they must have this and that. If we don't start accrediting our businesses in Nigeria, we will not be able to stand up. People will continue to go to outside the country, right? So for medical services. When you think about it's the funniest thing, because when you think about all these people, rich people that used to be able to leave Nigeria and go to get medical services, it's the same Nigerian doctors that left Nigeria to come outside the country and practice that actually treats them, funny enough. So I think we all need to start to look inwards. Now let's talk about Baba Shukura and Yatemedu. Simple. Let's not even talk about the educated illiterates. I call a lot of Nigerians educated illiterates because they have certificates, but they're not really wise. They're not really educated. They have not opened up their minds and their hearts to be able to learn about how to improve themselves, let alone the government or their children or the country itself. So when we start to look at the dynamics of what makes Nigeria, Nigeria is the people. Nigeria is not the building. Nigeria is not the land. Nigeria is not the farms. Nigeria is us. So if we don't continue to stand to fix our moral compass, if we as Nigerians don't start to fix our integrity, we lack integrity in Nigeria. I say because when I get to Nigeria, the things I can't do in America, when I get to Nigeria, I bribe the policeman that stops me. For no reason, I bribe him. But part of the problem with giving a bribe is that I'm committing a crime as he's committing a crime as well. But if we start it starts from us. Everything starts and stops with us. When Baba Shukura is running the street saying, I'm hungry and I'm hungry, and he's going to stand online with 500 people, that might have coronavirus, to get a small bag of rice that would last him and his children for 3 days. And you guys are applauding them. They're hungry, so they should go out. Why aren't you on that line collecting food yourself? That's part of the problem, because a lot of you guys, you buy face. You don't speak in truth. You're encouraging people to risk their lives One person contracting coronavirus in Nigeria can take it to at least 100 people. So you assume what 50 people get coronavirus, you're talking about what 5,000 more coming down with the virus itself. Instead of us to be encouraging people to stay home or encouraging the government to figure out a better way to distribute food, we're telling people to go out there. Don't worry. In Kano today, I read somewhere that 95 people died in the past, 24 hours? 95 people died in Kano. Nobody is able to tell if it's coronavirus or not coronavirus, because you know that when a Muslim man dies, a woman dies, a person dies, that they're burying them the very next day. So there's no way to do an autopsy to find out if it's coronavirus that's killing these people. But if you look at the statistics of the number of people that passed away this time last year in a particular area and the number of people that passed away today, you will understand that the difference, the only thing that's different is the fact that there's coronavirus in our community now. When the lemons, when the pastors and the leaders of places should have shut down, they were telling their people God will not allow coronavirus to come into their congregation. God will not allow people coronavirus to come into their sphere. Unfortunately, God that created doctors and scientists is sitting there going, what kind of human beings did I create? God gave us doctors, God gave us scientists, God gave us everything we need in Nigeria, but we choose to follow mad people. We choose to follow mad men that do not even have a clue and about what spirituality is. We all have to start to think for ourselves. None of us has been in church. At least I haven't been in church in about 5 weeks, and I didn't die. I'm still here. I'm still alive. I'm eating, and so are you. We've all been praying in our home and going to church online, and we didn't die. But yet the pastors will tell you, if you don't come to church, you're going to die. We have to take lessons from coronavirus today and take it to the future. Because if you know that the building, I'm not saying that people should not go to church anymore. I'm saying that if you realize that your pastor gave a prediction about coronavirus disappearing on the 27th of March, and we're in April, coronavirus is spreading faster than ever. That should make us all understand that spirituality is the way to go, and understanding and reading the Bible or the Quran or the Buddha book ourselves and practicing what we preach is the way to go. Because all these people that are jumping up and down talking about they know God, they have the keys. We all realize that no, the key to God, to the door to meet God, because relationship with God is a personal thing. It's not, so nobody can sell it to you. Nobody, you can't buy it, right? We all know that coronavirus has taught us that we don't need church to serve God. We need to do the right things. We need to follow in the footsteps of Jesus Christ, right? Which is love. Help your fellow man. The money that you are donating to the building so that Pastor Joshua can have a private plane, going forward after coronavirus, you can use it to help a poor person. You can use it to help the motherless babies home. You can use, your donations should be used for constructive things. A lot of these people that are misleading us, are people that we have taken. Thank you for telling me to shut up. You're the best. You are taking words from men that are not living their lives. They're not walking their talk, that are talking to you. They're talking at you, not to you. A lot of us have been brainwashed, like Kennevic or Sila versus with his fake name. They've been brainwashed into believing that they are nothing without somebody that's telling them where to go and where not to go. They've been brainwashed into believing that they cannot be anything or anyone. You know, a lot of you see, God is a personal relationship. You have a personal relationship with God, and you'll be able to hear God directly. You don't need a middleman. You don't need to go pay a pastor or a wali. You have, what you will have is a guide. We all have spiritual mentors. We have the spiritual guides. I have a business mentor. I have a mentor for almost everything in my life That's different from worshiping someone instead of God himself. So when you take coronavirus, when you take what coronavirus has done, it's exposed a lot of people that are liars. It's exposed the fact that we as a people need to work on ourselves. See, in the past, before pre-coronavirus, people were just getting married just so they can say they're married, right? Now coronavirus comes and they say stay home. A lot of you guys that could go to your girlfriend's house, could go chill with your boyfriend and leave your husband or your wife at home. You can't do that at the moment because now a lot of, in China, after post-coronavirus, they said this is the highest rate, and I'll post the link to that story. They said this is the highest rate of divorce they've seen in China post-coronavirus. Pre-coronavirus, people could go to work 8 hours out of 24 hours, and you could just go get away from the person. By the time you get home, you're now just hanging out with that, for a few hours before you go to bed. Now, unfortunately, with coronavirus, you have to be with that person that you chose to marry, even though you married the person because they had money or because they have, because they had money or because they had a family name. A lot of you women married Dundee Uniteds. You just told you they can say you're married. A lot of you women that are like in high places settle for men that are less or partners that are less. And now you have to sit at home and be looking at this Dundee United that you married by choice. Under duress. Somebody just inboxed me saying under duress. No, you didn't marry the person by under duress. Yes, you were pressured, but you chose to cop out. So now you're married to you're home with the person that you married that you don't really get along with. You don't really you don't like, you don't even, you don't talk to each other for days normally before coronavirus. Now you're stuck indoors with them. I'm praying that going forward that we start to choose who we marry, that we start to take our time post-coronavirus to get in touch with ourselves, to really find ourselves before we get married as human beings. Because at the end, a marriage is supposed to be a partnership. A partnership. Where you trust the person, where you give the person, you dedicate your life to that person. You're looking for a partnership, you're looking for the ship to grow, to sail well. You're looking for somebody that's going to invest in you emotionally, financially, romantically, all of the these, in most cases. Unless, of course, you're a money sexual, you're green card sexual, but even then, you're marrying that person because of a particular reason, and you dedicate yourself to that person. Ihioma says, I'm also afraid of post-coronavirus divorce that will happen in Nigeria. Many are pretending in their marriages. Of course, if you want to come in, just click on the link and I'll bring you in, because it's very important that we have conversation. Ihioma, I am very afraid. That's why we're having this conversation, because like I said, originally I was going to do this show and bash Nigeria like we all have been. But we have to start talking about the future. We have to start talking about post-coronavirus, because coronavirus, this is not the first pandemic we've had. We've had yellow fever, we've had influenza, we've had all kind of Ebola. And after coronavirus, how do we manage our lives? That's what we have to start to look at. So if you want to come in and you have something good to say or bad to say, click on the link under me. The StreamYard.com link, click on it and I can bring you in. But Ihioma says, I am also afraid of post-coronavirus divorce that will happen in Nigeria. Many are pretending in their marriages. Of course, many are pretending in their marriages because they didn't marry for the right reasons. We have to start to marry for the right reasons. When somebody is 18, 20, as soon as you graduate university, people are asking you, when are you having a child? When are you getting married? They start asking you questions like your life depends. If you don't have a marriage certificate, you're a nobody. The person that just went to school and graduated with a PhD and a master's, wait, I'm still trying to build a life. I'm trying to get to know myself. But they force people into getting married so that the family name is carried on, so they can have children. Not even asking the man that you're marrying or what value does it bring into your life. A lot of people in today, coronavirus is going to make a lot of people realize that the things that they're doing with the way they're living their lives, the things that they're doing in their life moment is not going to, is not sustainable. It's not going to work on a long-term basis. So we have to start to pre-plan our lives. Before you go and born Pekin with somebody, ask yourself, do you want to be stuck with this family for the rest of your life? Before you have two children like rabbits, ask yourself, how am I going to be able to feed these children? Because coronavirus has made a lot of us realize that having 8, 10 children, even the government of Lagos said 4 children and 2 adults is all they're feeding. So imagine Baba Shukura that has 4 wives and 20 children. How does he decide which children to feed and which ones not to feed? Our population in Lagos, the population of Lagos is the population of some countries. Millions. Why? Because people chose to leave their villages to go to the cities when they could have stayed in their villages to work, to build farms. Right now, there's no food. They import food from all over from China into Nigeria. They import everything into Nigeria. I spend the day doing research on what kind of industries are going to succeed post coronavirus. I'm not going to share that today because I need to bring in experts and things that I'm not certified to talk about. I usually don't talk about, even though it's my opinion that people are here to have conversations, about. The truth is that if we continue to do what we're doing in Nigeria the way we are doing it, post coronavirus, when something else happens, we're going to be right back where we are. We have to start to redefine ourselves, right? Most women that are in marriages today are in marriages that there's no love, there's no affection, there's no nothing. A lot of men are the same way because their father said, marry this girl, they marry that girl because the girl has a good family name, but they're not in love with her. So of course, they go and have a side chick. Coronavirus is here now. You can't go to see your side chick. So you're miserable in the house. You're fighting all the time. You guys are beating each other up. You're traumatizing the kids, and you're teaching the children that fighting is the only way to express love because there's no love in your relationship. There's a lot of people that are going to discover that they can't, or actually no, they're going to have to face the reality that they can't stand their partners because they're stuck in the house with their partners all day. Post-coronavirus, what are you going to do? Stay in the same jacked up relationship? So that people will not say, oh, you're divorced. Are you going to stay in the same jacked up job because you choose not to go to university? Are you going to stay with the same mentality? That is the question that I want people to start to ask. If you change your mindset, you will be able to have the power to change Nigeria. See, Nigeria is not the people. Nigeria is not the building. Nigeria is not the government. Nigerians don't like to take accountability for anything. So people are dropping off like flies. Now, if I sat here and I was abusing the Nigerian government and I was abusing everybody in the government and I was abusing Abba Kyari and Buhari, blah, blah, I don't like the government. But the people pick the government. Until we start to educate ourselves, until we start to change our mindsets, until we start, to really seriously think about where do we go from now. Nigeria is not going to change. Generations down the line, 50% of the country will still be trying to get out. There was a year I went to Nigeria, I think it was 2013. And I ended up in a primary school somewhere, and I was asking the kids, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be? What do you want to be when you grow up? One girl says, I want to be abroad. I teared up. Because growing up in Nigeria, Moji, wanted to be in Nigeria. I came here to go to school. I stayed as long. I thought by the time I was 50 years old, I was going to retire to Nigeria. Well, I'm 55, and I don't think so. I don't think so, not because I don't want to suffer or anything like that, but because of the laws in Nigeria. Because there's no laws, really. There's no laws in Nigeria. If you kill, you can buy your way out of it. Thieves and rogues are the celebrities of Nigeria. People that work hard are resented. People that make it on their own merits are resented. There are people in Nigeria that should not even, in any normal society, will not be mentors, will not be looked up to. Take, for instance, I mean, Abba Kyari died. In any civilized country, the body of that man should never have been released. Every country where they die alone, their bodies are not given to their families, they're actually incinerated, and then the ashes are given to the family. That's how it's done. But because Nigerians, we buy face, they release the body of that man into a society. Almost 1,000 people came to the funeral exposed to coronavirus. Almost 1,000 people. And then they hired people that are hungry. This is why you can't be too thirsty and drink from every cup. They hired people that needed money to handle his body, put his body into the ground, exposing him again, exposing so many people to coronavirus. The problem I see with Nigeria, honestly, is the fact that a lot of Nigerians don't cut their coat according to their sizes. You know, we don't stay in our lane. Nobody says you shouldn't strive to become better. Strive to become better, but not on somebody else's head. Strive to become better by improving yourself, educating yourself, you know, doing the right things, and then demanding the right things from everybody else. Half of the people that sit on Facebook and shout and troll people, they themselves have no clue about what's going on in society. They don't even take the time to do research or study or look at the stats. The people that have the common sense to speak up, we're told to shut up. We're called names. If you go to the north, they're allegedly dishing out 40,000 naira per person. How many people in the south are getting that? Because when they told Nigerians to go and register as a poor person, a lot of people did not do that. See, a lot of people did not do that. They didn't register as a poor person. Government allegedly does not have a record of who's poor and who's rich. And in the West, we're supposedly very educated. But what I'm finding is that there's a lot more educated illiterates than there are educated people in Nigeria. Because it's not the books that makes you smart. It's not the books that gives you honor. It's not the books, it's not your college degree, but it's important. Education is supposed to open your mind's eyes and teach you new things, not just calculus or algebra or geometry or history. It's supposed to teach us how to become resourceful. It's supposed to teach us how to become innovative. It's supposed to teach us how to be our brother's keepers as well. Because if you believe that it's all about you, because there's no reason why PPEs were donated to Nigeria and it's shared amongst the people on top. The hospitals that need them didn't get them. But I bet you that heads of certain hospitals were bribed. Some people took the PPEs that were supposed to be given to the hospital doctors, the common doctors and and nurses and such. They gave it to their friends to go to their cousins and their whatevers to go and sell, so that the blood, it's not traced back to them. It's sad. It's a sad state. But going forward, we have to start to think, how do we change? How do we change the narrative of Nigeria? The only way the narrative of Nigeria would change is by us changing ourselves. It's by us instilling in our friends, in our family, boundaries. It's by us asking and demanding for respect. But we also have to respect others. We also have to respect others' boundaries. We don't just go and talk bow everywhere. The way Nigerians interact on social media is scary. We're one of the deadliest people. We troll people for no reason. Troll people for no reason. You don't know anything about them. You just come there and you throw up for no reason. It makes no sense. And yet we're looking for good governance. How do you get good governance when you're not good people? If you're not a good person, you can't pick a good husband. You can't pick a good wife. You can't pick a good government. You can't raise good children, because people learn from watching. Children learn from watching. When it's time to vote, Nigerians run out and they're worrying about the contracts they will get. They're worrying about the things the doors that will open for them. They're not worrying about what's good for the country. They're not worrying about what's good for the country. We're worrying about what's good for us, what's good for our children, what's good for our friends. How do we get this contract? How do we get that contract? Oh, my cousin is running for presidency. So let's all vote for him because he's my cousin. Don't worry. He's going to take care of our village. That's not the way it works, because half the time when they get there, remember you anyways. And if they remember you, don't forget that when you drive your Lamborghini Countach, after you've gotten stolen money from your cousin that's in there, you still have to drive on the same raggedy road as Baba Shukra that's riding his bicycle. When and how are we as a people going to start to look at the lives of the collective? Coronavirus has totally leveled a lot of things. Coronavirus has brought all of us into the same arena. We're all fighting the same enemy. And a lot of us are coming together and doing the right by our brothers and sisters, people we don't even know we're donating money to, people we don't know we're helping out, people we don't know we're trying to do things for. There's a Facebook friend of mine that all he posts about is stay home, stay home, stay home. He could be posting his food, he could be posting his clothing and his fancy cars. He's begging people, sending money out to people. But one of the things I said to him is stop sending money to people. Stop sending money to just anybody, because all you're doing is you're making them handicapped. You're not helping. Help people that need help, not people that are sitting on social media talking about, oh, I'm hungry. If you're hungry, use your food, use your money instead of buying minutes. Go and buy some Gary. Granted, you can't eat Mr. Biggs every day. We've been over 6-8 weeks and people are still in my inbox. Nobody's asking me, Auntie Moji, how are you doing? In America, we pay water, we pay light, we pay electric, we pay everything. Garbage to be removed, we pay. We're paying for everything in this country, and we've been shut down for 6 weeks. Nobody has gone to work in America except people that can work from home. Those of us that cannot work from home have not gone to work. But yeah, people are still upset because I'm not giving them, I can't give you money. Oh, sorry, I can't give you money today. 100 inboxes, give me. Has anybody thought, okay, how about I just go inside Moji's book and say, Moji, how are you doing today? They don't. But they'll say, hi, I'm hungry. Hi, I'm hungry. Not hi, how are you? Not hi, hi, I'm hungry. Okay, then I go, hi, I'm Moji. Because if your name is Hungry, me too. I'll give you my real name. Hi, my name is Moji. Hi, I'm hungry. That's how you approach people. But yet you're expecting people to help you by just, hi, I'm hungry. Hi, yalla ya gbogbo. Hi, I'm hungry. See, Nigerians don't like to take accountability. We don't like, and I say we don't like to take accountability. Before you became hungry, when you had money, you were going to Owambe every weekend and spraying. Going forward from coronavirus, what are you going to do differently? Are you going to continue to go to parties every weekend? Or everybody in your church that's doing naming ceremony, you have to be there instead of saving your money? Instead of saving your money and investing it in things that will yield, you take the money and you wear the most expensive clothing, even though you're living in a face-to-face. Coronavirus hits, now everybody's screaming, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. Before coronavirus, didn't you know you had to save a couple of dollars? Going forward, what are we going to do differently? That's what the question I ask. I'm not going to be bashing people, because at the end of the day, we've been bashing Nigerian years. I've been bashing them for 30 years, bashing them way before coronavirus. But if we as a people don't start to change ourselves, don't go to your page and start talking about how people need to get themselves and stay home. Because you see, they extended it by 2 more weeks, 40 more days. They have to extend it for at least a month in Nigeria, because when they started this thing, nobody stayed home. Nobody listened. A lot of people did not listen. The people that listened, though, shuku to all of you that listened and stayed home. Majority of the people are not staying home. They're talking about wear a mask, wear a mask. Thank you, Jared. Wear a mask, wear a mask. You're not wearing a mask. You don't need to wear a fancy mask. Take your scarf from your head, like the Muslim women, Assalamu alaikum women. Put it over your face. When you get home, take the scarf and put it and wash it with hot water. That kills the virus. Wear a mask when you go out does not mean you have to go and buy a fancy mask. Take a cotton t-shirt, tie it over your head like a bandana, like they do in the Sahara Desert. But everybody wants to be fancy. Everybody wants to be like Mr. Darosha's son. People want to do, we're not all on the same level. When I say that, they call me an elitist, but that's the reality of life. Everybody is not going to be eating caviar. Should everybody be eating caviar? Of course not. We're not all doing the same jobs. We're not all working on the same level. Do things according. People will get upset because they come inside somebody's inbox, because you toast a girl, because the girl says no. She thinks she's better than you. Honey, she might not be better than you in every way, but trust me, stay in your lane. You want to play in the big league, educate yourself, do the right things, and get to the same level. You cannot expect to be on the same level as people that have worked hard all their lives. Every rich person is not a bad person. Every rich person in Nigeria is not a bad person. But people want to shout, oh yeah, the rich people, the million boys are going to beat up this person, beat up that person. They're not going to the rich neighborhoods because they know rich people have guns and things. They will shoot them. So they're coming back into your neighborhood and you guys are clapping for them. It's because they're hungry. You are the problem. Nigerians are the problem. It's not the government. Because the government, if you really are not the problem, you would have been shouting 5-6 years ago when Moji was shouting. Start complaining. When I sat here, they called me a mad person. They said I should go and write a book, Abby. Years ago when I was screaming, Nigerians have to change. We have to change. We have to change. I didn't start out like this. I had to reprogram myself. I had to change my mindset. I was weaned on that thing called Nigerian water, where I drank water. Where from day one, they teach you how to lie. When you're going to Yaba, your mother will tell you, don't go to Kibiko. Don't tell people you're going to Yaba. Tell them you're going to London. Because so that people don't do voodoo to you. We win our children on lies, and yet we expect grown-ups to be telling the truth. What are we going to do differently after coronavirus? That's my question now. Because I'm so no longer interested in, oh, this one did. We already know what Buhari did. We know what Jonathan did before him. We know what Obasanjo did before all these other people. We know what they all did, and we've all kept quiet. Because directly and indirectly, he was paying everybody. It was good for everybody. Right? When money was flowing around and people were bribing people, and you didn't think it would affect your children's children when cell phones came into Nigeria. When they went to the federal government of Nigeria to bring cell phones into Nigeria, Glo had to bribe in billions of dollars. That's why your cell phone bills are so expensive. And we in America were paying what? $29.99. Some people pay $30. Unlimited phone, unlimited text, unlimited everything. How much is $30? You have to examine yourselves now. Coronavirus don't come. Okay, where do we go? Where do we go? That's the question. Ihioma says, I'm still sitting at home. Oh, I see what's going on around the globe on TV, so I can't gamble with my life. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. We cannot continue to gamble with our lives because of the fact that people say they're hungry. Well, look, dead people, they eat. They don't eat, rather. Dead people don't eat. You know, if you catch coronavirus and you're in your house, and your whole house, people, nobody's going to eat. So to the people that are applauding people to go out and they're hungry, they can't stay home. When you tell people that they cannot stay home because they're hungry, they will believe that they cannot stay home. Believe that there's nothing I can't do. In this house, we've been eating what we can get. You know, we're all working hard. In abroad, America, wherever, we're sending money to people that are just chilling. And then the money you send them that you're taking out of your children's mouth in America, they'll use it to go and buy minutes. To post fancy things that me, I'm not buying. Call it LLC, call it whatever you want. But the problem actually starts with those of us that are enabling people to do what they cannot afford. So when people in America are shouting, it's because you're in America. When people in Nigeria are shouting, it's because we're all here. You guys are the problem. We are all the problem. Somebody says, Yala Yagbogbo says, they have no culture of saving for rainy days. One of the reasons everyone is looking for assistance. Look, Iyala Yagbogbo should to you for saying that, because let me tell you something. Until we start to save our money, in America, in most American homes, you're taught that we are one paycheck away from being homeless. So we are taught to save 10% of our money. In Nigeria, they're taught to give 10% of their money to church. If you don't save your money, nobody is saying you shouldn't give tithes, but try and pace yourself. If we don't start to save money, from what you see, nobody owes anybody anything. Absolutely Nobody owes anybody anything. Yes, the government should, isn't Trump saying the same thing to people? Of course. Trump, the president of America, is saying the same exact thing to people. You have to start to save for rainy days. Post-virus, what are we going to do differently, folks? Stop allowing people to brainwash you into staying poor and stupid by telling you that you're not intelligent, by telling you that you're stupid, by telling you that because you're hungry. You're not animals. You're human beings with brain cells. They're saying 80% of Nigerians are below poverty value. Poverty does not make you stupid. Poverty does not make people unintelligent. Poverty does not make people hungry to the point that they go and rape someone and kill people. Crazy people kill people. Devilish people kill people. Poverty is not what's driving the stealing and the maiming and the 1 million boys. It's not. It's not. That is a generation of people, that generation of 1 million boys, they say they're between the ages of 13 and 20 something, 24, 25. Where are their parents? Looking for money. So you're not paying attention to your children running wild on the streets. I went to high school in Ikere, Ekiti. I know what poverty looks like. Poverty is when you have to go to the farm and get a tube of yam, which is roasted on the fire and eaten with oil and salt. That's poverty. And these people do it, and they do it with pride. But you go to Lagos or you go to Ibadan, these people want to tell you that they're hungry. They're hungry. So they're going to steal, they're going to rob, and they're going to rape people. Are you going to be one of those families that continue to tell your family members, oh, it's because they're hungry, that's why they stole? No, it's because they lack moral integrity. It's because they lack morality, compassion, empathy. Nigeria has become a country filled with people that have no empathy. You'll see somebody being lynched on the street, you waka pass. You'll see somebody being pelted with stones, you waka pass. You do that on social media, where somebody like me that's sitting there minding my own business as a lesbian woman, happily married to my wife, where people are abusing me and cursing me out for no reason. They don't know me, but you keep quiet. There's a guy on this page that I'm talking about God and stuff, and the guy told me to shut up. None of you people told the man to behave himself. None of you people told him off. Nigerians lack compassion, and that is part of the problem. The people that don't know anything about anything are the loudest on social media. They are the loudest. The doctors and nurses that know about coronavirus, you can't hear their boom. You can't hear their voice because their voices get drowned out in the noise. When this coronavirus started, it wouldn't have spread in Nigeria like crazy like this. But pastors were saying, oh, don't worry, it's not going to touch you. Let me anoint your head with oil. The government that was supposed to shut the gates did not shut the gates of Nigeria. They kept allowing foreigners to come in. Even Nigerian government went and brought 15 Chinese doctors to Nigeria from the same place where the virus is coming. Why? People are not jumping up and down and shouting. But Wasiu Ayinde was trending on social media for the past 5 days. Even Dele Momodu, who's supposed to be, hey, Dele Momodu, on his page today, I was so disappointed. Carried the Wasiu story. Wasiu and some king, and Kilo Komipeli Wasiu, if he's dating, if he's the king's wife is cheating with Wasiu, people are dying. And you guys are making Wasiu trend. Wasiu, Elere. People are dying. Instead of sharing information about this coronavirus, how people should stay home, how people should do this, how they can get information, how they can get money, how they can get help from the government. I posted a link where somebody had sent it to my inbox saying, oh, Moji, there's here. If people need money, let them click on this and put their information. Somebody will get back to them immediately. I posted the link on my page. How many people shared it? How many people shared it? 2,650 people shared the story of Wasiu having an affair. And people are dying in Nigeria of coronavirus. How do I know? Because I get the information. I get the videos. People inbox me with videos. People send stuff. Some things I can't even put on my page. So I send it to people that can put that on their page. Information we posted, you don't share it. I posted a story about a Nigerian doctor that's doing amazing things. Dr. Ngozi Onye, a Nigerian doctor that owns Palon Memorial Hospital. She University of Ibadan, when University of Ibadan was University of Ibadan. She came out of a group of doctors of Nigerians that are all over the world doing amazing things. She came out of the Nigerian medical school when Europeans and people from Saudi and all over Africa were sending their students, their medical students, to be educated in Nigeria. I shared her interview on my page. She runs a private hospital, and she was talking about how the government has to, has to partner with private hospitals and this and that, because there's people that will not go to public hospitals, and eventually the numbers are going to grow. Nobody touched it. Nobody even watched it. They didn't watch the video. But God forbid I go and put some mad woman that's beating another woman up. They will share that 350,000 times. Nigerians are educated illiterates. Until we start to educate ourselves. And it's not going to college or going to university that makes you educated. It's being able to just open your mind to learn something different. Post coronavirus, what are we going to do differently? You can't get a different result by doing the same things. You just can't. You can't. Olu says, wow, I just got on here. Have I missed something? I'm sick of people talking about religion and being disrespectful. Shuku to you. Religion is a personal relationship with God. Spirituality. I'm not a religious person. I'm a very spiritual person. I believe living my life trying to walk in the shoes of Jesus Christ. I am not Jesus Christ, but I do the best I can to help my fellow man. I don't post what I do on social media. I used to do that. But then when I read the Bible and I could understand the way it says, when you do something for someone, don't let your left hand know. Because the moment you left your left hand know and you are applauded for it, that is your gift. That is your blessing. That applause is now your blessing. So now when I do things for people, I tell them, don't post about it. Don't write up about it. Not only because, I feel it's the way to do it. I don't believe you should dehumanize a person by posting their pictures while you're giving them rice or giving them kobo. The way I see life now, and it took me a long time to get here, is that God has blessed me and chosen me. I think it's a privilege for me to be able to help some people, because I don't want my inbox to be filled with people saying, oh, you said you can help. No, some people. Everybody is not my assignment. So it's not everybody that comes to me that I'm going to help at all. I do not believe that. You can be empathetic, you can be compassionate, but you can't help the whole world. When I first met my wife, I was doing for this one, doing for that one. She said to me, you can't boil the ocean, but you can boil the ocean one cup at a time. I believe in education. I believe in education, and it doesn't mean that I want everybody to go to college, because see, our fingers are not even the same size. One is shorter than the other, and the other, and the other. We're not all going to be on the same level. We're not all going to be as rich as each other. But one thing I know for sure is that we can be the best of who we are. We can be the best at what we are. With integrity, compassion, empathy, and grit. Every time something bad happens, it's not that God doesn't love you. There's a lesson you're supposed to learn out of it. Nigerians don't like to learn the lessons. See, one thing I learned is that you can't bail people out from their class. Because what happens is that they fail the class or they flunk out. And the example I'll give to you. Last year, I met a young man that I really, really liked. Gay young man. Oh, woe is me, because I'm gay. I can't go to school. I can't do this. I can't do that. I'm like, oh, okay. We paid for him to go and get trained. We applied for his school in America or not Nigeria. But the person himself did not show up in Nigeria. So how do you think we rethought our mind? Because if he's not showing up in Nigeria to go get schooled in Nigeria, what makes you think he's going to show up here when we pay for him to come to school here? See, we have to understand that there's some life lessons people have to learn. When you go through hell and you come out on the other side, you become wise, become smarter, and hopefully you become more compassionate towards your fellow man. A lot of the things that I talk about is because I fell flat on my face in America. I went 2008 when the real estate market crashed. I lost everything, because of a lot of other reasons as well. But I had to rebuild myself. I had to start thinking. After going to church and church and church and church for many, many years, that happened to me. I was a Sunday school teacher. I was this, I was that. I was an usher. I was there first thing in the morning. I went to church 5 times a day. And I still went through a rough time because God needed to redirect me someplace. When you stop asking why and start asking why this would happen to you, start asking yourself, what lesson am I supposed to learn from this? Ask yourself, what lesson am I supposed to learn from coronavirus? Am I one of those women that was sleeping with everybody, that was a monisexual, that was sleeping with people to eat? Maybe the lesson for you from coronavirus is that you're not going to be always peperempe. You're not going to be always beautiful. You're going to get wrinkled. You need to start to learn. Oluola says the poor tend to be more generous and kinder. Of course, because they understand, they're more empathetic. You know? Iyala Yagbogbo says religion has socially constructed millions of Nigeria. I agree with you, but I'm going to say it has socially deconstructed, because we now believe in hocus pocus. Even Christians believe in hocus pocus. They believe that they can eat where they didn't sow. They believe they deserve you to give them money. They believe they deserve to become rich without doing the work. Pastors will stand on their podium and say you will get a job you don't deserve, that you're not qualified for. That's a curse. Because if you're not qualified for the job, I'm sorry, forgive me, you will get fired. Eventually, the voodoo that you did to that guy, he'll wake up one day and say, hey, you're not qualified, or whatever you're doing. God forbid you're not qualified to be a nurse and you get a job as a nurse. Honey, ask yourself how long you stay. You might give the person the wrong injection and they'll die, which is part of the problem with Nigerian hospitals, because they're not accredited. A lot of these hospitals are not accredited. Anybody can open up a hospital in Nigeria. As long as you have money to bribe people. They're not accredited. That's why the Nigerian government can go and bring Chinese doctors and just plug them into Nigeria. In no civilized country can you be a doctor. A Nigerian doctor cannot come to America and start working today. He has to be accredited by Nigeria. He has to be state certified in America. But Nigerian government just brings Nigeria, Chinese, with coronavirus and everything, brings them into the country. Oh, shikino, whatever. Emmanuel says, hello, ma. What about the government that cannot take care of its citizens? Can't Nigerian government reach out to each citizen through their bank account? I agree with you, Emmanuel. But here's the problem. There's a lot more Nigerians that don't have bank accounts. There's Baba Shukra and Iyatemedu that don't believe in banks, because one day they woke up many years ago and they changed the Nigerian currency overnight. So there's a lot of people that do not have bank accounts. 35 billion naira has been donated to Nigeria as of today. How many of you are on your pages asking, hashtagging, where is Nigerians' donations? I've been begging people to do that. Emmanuel, that's a great point. Problem is that a lot of people do not have bank accounts. And those that have bank accounts should be asking, really, we should all be asking about things that make sense, which is why I'm asking the question. Post-coronavirus, what are we all going to do differently? Remember when the government came out and said, we're going to send 5,000 naira into everybody's account? I was one of the first people to say, how about the people that don't have accounts? Because the poorest people in Nigeria do not have bank accounts. They don't trust the government, so they're not going to trust the banks. So that's a great comment. Thank you for your input. Adele Konsolomon says, exactly, so many lessons. Yes, we all need to learn. We have questions. We have lessons. I have lessons I'm learning by being in America. There's a lot of lessons. There's a lesson of, thank God we saved money. Thank God I wasn't one of those people that went to a party every weekend and you had to buy lace and buy gele. Thank God. Because a lot of those people are in my inbox today begging for money. A lot of those same people that you see at parties wearing like fancy clothing, Gucci and Fendi and all that have donated all their money. I'm not saying people shouldn't carry fancy things, but they've donated all their money to Versace and Armani. Now, 6 weeks in America, we have been told to stay home. We need a system where people start to learn to save money and stop believing. See, God helps those that help themselves. People are believing that God will provide. God will provide. My motto in Moji's world is God moves when we move. Olu says, in England, the government calls its vulnerable citizen individually to make sure they are okay. Those in need are fed and taken care of. Shukutu, every government that's doing that, Olu. Problem with Nigeria is that when the Nigerian government requested, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, that poor people should go and register with their local governments, how many people did? Our pride in Africa and in Nigeria specifically stops us from doing things. Our pride. When the government 5 years ago said poor people need to go and register as poor people, so we have a database and a census of how many poor people we have, how many Nigerians registered as a poor person? Baba Shukura that cannot feed himself will not register as a poor person because he doesn't want to be known or labeled as a poor person. In America, if you're poor, you actually get so much more than people that are working minimum wage. So a lot of people that are poor will register as being poor. And another way to find out who's poor and who's not in America is by how much you paid last year in taxes. How much money did you declare to the government that you made last year? In Nigeria, there's a tax system. How many Nigerians pay taxes? They don't pay taxes, but yet they expect the government to give them money. You want to eat where you did not sow. Again, we're back to square one. We're back to square one. Emmanuel, talk to me. We're back to square one. Empty pride indeed. When people don't acknowledge and accept where they are, they cannot be blessed by God. They cannot be blessed by humans. Well, let me tell you guys a funny story now. I hope if you want to come in, if somebody wants to join the show to make a comment, please feel free to, because I'm going to be going out and going off in a few minutes, and click on the link I'm about to post on the page. Right? I'm posting a link right now. If you want to come in and make a comment, please feel free to. I'm able to bring you in. Right? It's funny because I'm pinning this comment on top. If you go to the top of the comments, you'll see you can actually click on it and you'll see the link to come in. So I want somebody to come in, so I'm just not the only one talking. But Olaolu says empty pride. The problem with Nigeria is that there's too many people that are starving, but they will be posing that they are doing well. Look on social media. People are in face-to-face. They go in front of somebody's Range Rover and they take a picture and post it and pretend like it's theirs. Seriously. So then you're hungry and you come into my inbox, but I just saw you at a party spraying money like it's water. Even if it's 1 naira, I don't care. They don't even have 30 naira. But you can't post on your social media page that while you're spraying people money, and then you come and you ask me, right? You ask me for money. I'm not going to give it to you. Why am I going to give you money when you're spraying money elsewhere? Am I stupid? I'm not funding your fabulous lifestyle. I'm sorry. Ihioma says, I worked with the company for 3 years and 11 months. During this time, first tax from my salary was deducted, but was never remitted to FIRS. I believe you. I have heard horrible stories in Nigeria. I totally believe you. But the way to go forward is to change the system. How do we change the system? We change the mindset of our people. How do we change the mindset of our people? We start to have dialogue about how to go forward. If we continue to beat up the government is going to win. The only way to demand respect is when we respect ourselves, Ihioma. If we do not respect ourselves, we cannot demand from somebody else. If we do not have boundaries, we cannot expect people to respect our boundaries. Okay? That's the way, that's my opinion. And somebody might have something different to say. Adele Konse Oronla, this pride really common among Yoruba, sorry to say, it's true. It's true. The register, the register that was created for the list of poor people, the Northerners went and they registered. I have a video which I'll post as a comment where they give Northerners 40,000 naira because the number of population of the poor people is a lot higher because they have the data to back it up. Nigerian, you're in the West, the Yorubas, you don't register as a poor person because you don't want people to say you're poor. But the thing about it is that you're poor. Me, I'm one of those people that own my own. I'm not going to sit here with a weave and then people will telling me my hair is beautiful and I start to believe my hair is beautiful. I have to believe that, yes, my hair is beautiful because I paid for the weave. That's the truth. But a lot of Yorubas and the people in the West in general do not want to acknowledge or accept who they are. The first step to healing is by accepting who you are. The first step to healing is by understanding who you are. You cannot strategize about something that you have not acknowledged. You can't strategize about poverty if you have not admitted that you're poor. And being poor does not mean that the world or the government owes you anything. But mind you, I think it was JFK that said, ask not what the government can do for you, but what you can do for the government. JFK said that. That's the motto by which America is run on. All this money that's being donated today to the Nigerian government should be used to help the people. Question is, how do you find the people when there's no system in place to figure out who's who? Emmanuel Omotayo says, Ma, please, but is it the duty of our government to create a system that can reach out to every citizen? Of course it is. But the first thing is, the citizens have to pick a government that's going to work for them, not a government that they are going to work for, which is the problem of Nigeria. See, when it's election time and they give you all these people to pick from, but you continuously pick people that come to your villages and give you 10 naira. They did that 14 years ago. And as soon as they get in, they forget you. And then they come back again and they give you more money 4 years later when it's election time again. But Nigerians don't seem to care. We continue to pick the same government over and over and over again. I'm going off in 10 minutes. Anybody that wants to come on, I just posted the link again. And come straight through into the studio. I'll pull you onto screen. Let's see. Well, going forward is what the question I'm asking. I'm not going to be bashing Nigerian government, at least not yet. I ask you guys all to start to ask on your social media, because if a lot of people speak about the same problem, eventually it'll get to where it needs to get to. The question is, where is Nigerians' donations? Because the doctors are dying in Nigeria. Not because the doctors are dying all over the world. You know, it's not the fault of the private hospitals. It's the fault of hospitals. It's the fault of the government for not partnering up with private hospitals. The government itself cannot be the only one that's doing everything. They have to reach out and ask for help from the people that are on the ground. For instance, when they're distributing the food, the chain should have been give it to the local government, give it to the state government, who then gives it to the local government, who then passes it out to people on a smaller level, so that we're not exposing the people, the citizens of Nigeria to coronavirus. But also, Long Truth is doing people. They're dashing out bread. People are acting like they've never had bread in their lives. See, the biggest problem Nigerians have is that we like free things. We like things we didn't work for. You want to tell me that out of those people that are running and chasing that bus that day, almost getting run over because of bread. They've never eaten bread before. And if they did not eat that bread that day, they will die. How many people do you know in your sphere, in your community, that have died because they're hungry? That is my question. Hunger doesn't kill people. Not having a foresight kills people. Not having a plan about our lives kills people. Not understanding what is going on outside of ourselves kills people. Not having compassion kills people. Not being empathetic kills people. Nigeria is filled with brilliant people. But a lot of us are selfish human beings. We only think about ourselves. The man that goes to beg for food and begs for rice so that he does not dip inside his own pocket and use his own money to buy gari, or because he's too proud to go to his neighbor's house and say, hey, cousin, I don't get food, I beg, give me some. Pride. But yet they'll go and stand online and beg for food, exposing their lives to coronavirus. Take that same coronavirus, take it to their children, take it to their neighbors, take it to everybody, because they're too proud and greedy at the same time. Where do we go forward is the question I started the conversation with. That's what I want you to take into your sphere. What are you going to do differently? Number one, people are stuck in their homes, with partners that they can't stand, partners they don't like, partners they would never have married, but because the guy had money. Because I hope when you choose your partners next time, I hope going forward, people will choose their partners for the right reasons, which is love, compassion, friendship, empathy. I hope going forward, people will start cutting their coat according to their sizes. Not everybody is going to be rich. Not everybody is meant to be rich, because we all can be rich. We all can be doctors. We all can be nurses. But we can be the best version of ourselves. I hope people will stop going to every goddamn party in town and start saving their money for a rainy day. I have a lot of hope for Nigeria. But my biggest hope is that we all fix our moral compass and we start to acquire integrity. Because when you have a moral compass, there's a lot of things that you will not do. When your integrity is repaired, because a lot of us had to repair our integrity, you can't come from a country like Nigeria and not get used to paying bribes or not getting used to getting your way. But when you fix your moral compass, you will then pick a governor or a government that will do right by the people. A government is supposed to be we the people, for the people, by the people. It's time we start thinking about Nigeria as a whole, not as the West or the North, South, and East, but as a whole. Because without being unified, without working together as a team, our country is bound to implode. The coronavirus is here and it will be here for a while, until we all start to be our brother's keepers. Until we start to treat everybody like they have coronavirus. Hunger has never killed anyone. Ask your children to stay home and keep an eye on them. Ask your family members to stay home and eat what they have. And if they don't have food, have them go through the normal, the protocol to get food. There's a lot of help out there, but you don't need to endanger your life. Maybe if people stop acting like they know everything. Maybe if people stop acting like they know everything and ask questions. Ask questions. Demand questions. Stop worshiping other people. Stop worshiping crooks. Stop worshiping governors. Stop worshiping social media heroes that have jack, nothing. Empty barrels just shouting. Millions follow people on IG that are living in face-to-face, and then you make them rich. Because every time you click a like on their page or you follow them, they're getting paid by it. Then you get handouts. They're giving dash away, dash away, dash away. They're giving dash away, not to help you to secure your future. They're giving you dash away to eat today, to make themselves feel like a local champion. How many of those dashaways have you used to go to school? How many people have picked up your tuition for the 4 years while you're in college? Ask yourselves that question. Are they helping to grow, to build your future? Or are they looking to be local champions for the moment? Where do we go from here? Are you going to be your brother's keeper after coronavirus? Or are you going to continue to feed into that fuel that's burning up Nigeria? The bloggers are giving you exactly what you want. Sensation. It's like crack. Every day they get up. You guys get up. What's going on? What's going on? Whose dirt? Whose life is upside down today? When somebody has achieved something good, you don't share those posts. If I post about nonsense, you share the post. If I post about this one is having an affair with that one, 1,000 likes. If I post about people doing the right things and doing well, you don't touch it. So who is the problem? Not the bloggers. You, the consumers. The same way the Nigerian government is a reflection of Nigerians. Because when we fix our moral compass and we demand being treated properly, but we also treat others properly. We follow the laws, we do this, we do that. Then and only then will we start to pick a good government. Funke was arrested because she had 10 people in her house. Most of you guys are still doing the same thing. You're all on the streets walking around. A lot of you guys are in Nigeria. And yet, you want to punish the rich people sitting in their houses because they're rich. Everybody's not going to be richer. It's impossible. That's the reality of life. Don't call me an elitist. I'm just a realist. For Nigeria to become better, we have to take life lessons from coronavirus period. What have you personally learned from this period about you? The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good you should keep. The bad you should work on. The good you should keep. The bad you should work on. And beg you, there's a lot of improvement in our culture that's needed. But until you and I start to live in truth, until you and I start to change ourselves, until you and I start to put up boundaries and stop accepting mediocrity from people and start buying local, start buying things made in Nigeria. Half of my whole wardrobe is outfits made by people in Nigeria. You know, because how do we build a community when everything is imported? Who's importing these things? You are. Nigeria has made China one of the richest countries in the world. Nigeria imports over 300 billion of goods, naira, of goods from Nigeria every 6 months, according to data. Yet, we want things to change. Stop blaming the government of everything. For everything, rather. I mean, we have to start blaming ourselves. To fix the country, we all have to roll up our sleeves and start to work on ourselves. If we don't take something out of this period of our lives, our suffering in the past few weeks has just been wasted. This is a time for change. Nigeria must change. We must change the hospitals. We must change the hospital system. We must change the government. We must change the way we Nigerians think. We must change how we value money more than life. We must change how our moral compass is totally kaput. We must change a lot about us. But again, everything starts and stops with self. This is Moji Solar-Wilson of Authentic Conversations with Moji. I thank you all for joining me. Time is one of the most precious things that we have. We can't buy it. Coronavirus taught us that. We can't buy it at all. We can't. We can't buy air. So stay home. Wash your hands. Eat what you have in your home. Talk to your partners. Talk about what you'll do differently going forward. Ask yourself, what can I do to change my surroundings? And that, my friend, is the way forward from coronavirus. Or else 10 years from now, when another pandemic happens, we'll be right back where we started. You can't build makeshift hospitals. You can't build tents instead of hospitals. You can't bring in Chinese doctors instead of using Nigerian doctors that understand the system. You can't spend your days begging for food like you've never eaten before because there's coronavirus out there. You have survived before this. But survival is mere living. What I'm asking of you to be the best version of yourself each day. May our tomorrow be better than our today. I hope everybody stays well, stays home. I wish you nothing but the best. Namaste. Omoba, I see you. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate that.